Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where in this review we'll see how well Indian Wells does. So in this review, we're going to be doing Indian Wells Special Reserve Root Beer. You'll see, it's a fancy root beer. This one's actually pretty special. Probably should have saved it for like some kind of fancy number, like 100th review or something, which we're not that far away from. But anyway, yeah, Indian Wells, you'll see it for yourself. The bottle is actually kind of pretty cool. Nothing special about the label or anything, but like I said, you'll see it in just a moment what's so special about it. But yeah, there's not much else to say. I actually, I thought I had reviewed this before, but turns out I didn't. So we'll go ahead and start with the ingredients, which, if I remember correctly, there is a lot of them. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the ingredients will pop up right here. But the first thing I want to say before we get into the ingredients, other than the fact that, you know, it says real vanilla, which that's pretty cool. So it's not like a fake vanilla or an extract or something like that. But the one thing that I find really interesting is, so it doesn't list a lot of, you know, you get your natural and artificial flavors, but what's interesting is, and I don't want to spoil it before looking at the bottle. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bottle. Yeah, that's a big bottle. That's a big bottle of root beer. That is 22 ounces of root beer right there. And let's go ahead and move it forward so you can kind of get a better look at the label. Yeah, they're really touting the fact that this is not your average root beer. But here's the part I want to look into, right? So it says natural and artificial flavors, but as you can see on the back, it says our recipe includes sarsaparilla, birch root, wintergreen, ginger, wild cherry bark, licorice, and pure cane sugar, and of course, you know, fresh spring water, which, like I said, not listed in the actual ingredients, but again, that's the sort of stuff that gets added into the natural and artificial flavors usually. So like I said, I know I've had this before. It's been a really long time, and I didn't review it at the time. So probably at the time I wasn't really, you know, trying to look for like certain flavors and stuff like that. So I'm wondering how complex it's actually going to be. You know, a lot of different root beers tout that they have wintergreen and things like that in it, but very rarely do you actually taste them. They all kind of blend in with the anise and licorice and stuff like that. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and crack this open and get ourselves a little bit of a sniff. So this is actually going to be my second attempt at trying to open this bottle. The first one didn't go well because, well, it's got a wax top. So I actually cut through the wax with a knife. Now let's see if we can pop this open. Oh, there it goes. Is it coming off? Wow, this is really tough to get open. I mean, of course it would be, but let's see. One more. Oh, there we go. Popped it off. And that almost went flying everywhere. Now this is filled to the brim. That's pretty impressive, actually. But immediately, it's a strong smell. I'll say that much. I mean, as far as complexity goes, I mean, you really can kind of smell all the things that they're touting on there. There's definitely a mintiness from the wintergreen. Very strong licorice scent to it. I don't really notice the birch, but you know, also vanilla. I mean, right now, it's pretty much what it says on the back. Like I'm pretty. I didn't know what to expect, honestly, because, you know, touting that many things and the bottle, I don't know. I guess I expected to be a little underwhelmed, but right now I'm not underwhelmed. I'm actually pretty impressed. So let's go ahead and let's get into the pour and the foam. All right, let's get into the pour and the foam. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to fill the trusty mug with this entire 22-ounce bottle of root beer. So let's go ahead and just fill it to the top. Wow. I mean, oh, it's gonna go. No. That's crazy. I mean, so far, I mean, it's impressive. It is impressive. So let's go ahead and get a taste of the foam. Licorice, pure licorice. No, hold on. So it starts out with the really strong anise flavor, and then it kind of fades into like just a sweet vanilla-y kind of root beer flavor. Okay, and now I'm tasting hints of the wintergreen in it. So it's like you're hit with the licorice up front. You're kind of brought into like a wave of sweetness, and then it finishes off with almost like a minty sort of like final texture. Wow. Okay. Like, I don't know what to say about it, because I mean, everyone knows what my feelings are on licorice centric root beers. But like, I'm also like really impressed by like how it does it promotes itself as a premium special root beer. And I have had premium special root beers. Good example would be like the Virgil's Bavarian Nutmeg, right? Which is good. This is like living up to what it's saying it is. Which I'm only on the foam. I haven't even tasted it yet. And the foam is still like half the glass. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish this here, because the more I have of this, the more I kind of deal with it. I'm more excited to see just what does it taste like, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's go ahead. I only filled this about, the mug's probably about 16 ounces, so there's still probably another 6 ounces inside the bottle. But yeah, let's go ahead and get ourselves a taste. And so bottoms up. I'm sure you've heard of the concept of an all-day IPA or an all-day beer. I'm not sure if they make any other kind of all-day beers, but all-day IPA is what I know. The idea behind an all-day IPA is the fact that it's the flavors and everything about it is, I think the idea is that it's complex enough that like you shouldn't be sitting down and just drinking this. This is something you kind of sip on it a little bit. You don't guzzle down. And they're usually stronger in alcohol content. Well, obviously, with root beer, you don't have that problem. But this is the closest thing I can think of to something like that because of the complexity. Like every sip and drink that I had of this, something different. I like it's really hard to explain. It's really hard to talk about. So we got, you do get kind of hit in the face with licorice, right? But like, it's not just like that pure licorice. There is like, there's so much more around it, right? Like almost tastes like hints of, well, the vanilla is really strong in it. There's also like almost like kind of like a, maybe it's just a mixture of flavors and stuff, and almost has like a caramel kind of flavor to it. How else to describe it? All the things that are listed on the back here, the sarsaparilla, the birch root, the ginger. I don't know so much about the wild cherry bark, but even that, if you're sitting there and you're just letting it kind of rest on your tongue, you can taste the complexity in it. It's really impressive. Like I said before, you have stuff like the Bavarian Nutmeg from Virgil's and stuff like, and the Bavarian Nutmeg was much more like Virgil's regular root beer with like a hint of nutmeg in it, right? But it came in this real fancy bottle. This is different than that, because this is just aiming to be a normal root beer, because a lot of the ingredients that I named in it are ingredients of root beer. Like people put wintergreen and birch and stuff like that in root beer, like as normal flavors. But somehow this has created this very specific mixture that is rich too. Like I had the whole cup and like I'm feeling like full. It's something special. And it's on the bottle, it's their special reserve root beer. Now Indian Wells makes other root beers too. This is kind of their top one, obviously. Like they make I think it's Death Valley root beer too, and which I haven't reviewed. I actually can't find a bottle of that anywhere. But anyway, I just really enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and get into the letter grade and talk about it. So grading this one, let's go ahead and talk about it. Like I said, it's very complex. It is impressive in a lot of ways. But in a way, it is also kind of like drinking a nice wine, but it's not a wine that you particularly like. Let's say you don't like a red wine and someone pulls out a vintage red that supposedly tastes fantastic, but you just don't like red wine, right? So that's where I'm kind of going with this, okay? Not trying to swerve anyone, but the licorice flavor, although it, like I said, it does recede and like releases other flavors around it to complement it, it is still kind of the focal point of the flavor, at least to me. I love the aftertaste. The aftertaste is like this beautiful, like minty vanilla flavor. And when it first hits your tongue, it's spicy and kind of strong. Not spicy as in like cinnamon or something like that. Well, actually, no, maybe cinnamon would be a good way to describe it. It's got a really good bite to it. Man, it's really hard for me because the flavor right up front isn't something that I particularly like. However, it morphs as it goes, and becomes something that I really like. I mean, if I had the ability to give it like an A-, I would probably give it an A-. I don't know if I can give it an A though. It deserves an A, but for me personally, I think I can only go as high as a B. This is tough. I think for me, I'm realizing that this particular root beer, I am going to have to give it an A. And I think even though it's not exactly what I love, I think what it does is so impressive that like I cannot deny that it deserves an A. It is very good. And just there's so much to it. Like when I first started doing root beer reviews, I was hoping that this was the kind of experience that I would have more often. And over time you realize that like a lot of root beers are kind of made the same way. So you end up getting a lot of root beers that kind of taste the same. But this is one of those special cases. Like I really feel like the craft root beer industry has really kind of, it's gotten better over the years, and you do get these very unique brews of root beer that's different than stuff like colas and things like that. And I think root beer as a flavor kind of really is a good starting point to do special things like that. And I think that's why you get a lot of like salted caramel, nutmeg, all these different flavors added into root beer, because root beer makes such a nice starting spot for that. But in this specific case, this is just kind of like root beer perfection. Like it's not my favorite root beer. I'll say that right off the top of the bat. Like, I still swear to Sprecher's until the day I die that's the best root beer I've ever had. But I just think the fact that this root beer presents itself as a premium product and is definitely a premium product once you try it, that I can't give it anything else but an A. So yeah, A. So that's it for this one. I wish I would have saved it for like number 100 now, because it actually ended up being really impressive. But I had the bottle for a minute and I was like, you know what? I need to try this, because it looks great and I want to try it. But anyway, go ahead and like and subscribe if you like this one, and get notifications if you want to know when the next one comes out. But it's usually on Fridays at noon. And otherwise, you can go ahead and follow me on twitch.tv/onebadveggie, where I actually streamed the other night, and I'll probably be doing it again very soon, because I got about I'm assuming maybe about halfway through the game Soma, which is a very spooky game, which I was playing it for the holiday season, so of course. But it's really good, and I want to finish it and let everyone see that. So go ahead and go on there and follow me. Otherwise, that's it for this one, and I hope you had a good time.